Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Kindred Fates community newsletter, this time for November 6, 2020. Now, I'm going into this completely blind. I don't know anything what's going to be in this newsletter, so we got Salamurder on the cover, so we know this is going to be a good one. I'm hoping for some alpha information. Okay, I see you. Okay, so this, but before reading anything, this was that little bud that was showcased in Kindred Talks. And as you can see, it expands into a vine. Now, my assumption with this is it's going to be sort of like a physical turret. So you can lay it down, and then anyone that goes near it, the vine's going to like whip it. It makes sense because Gaia types use tokens and stuff like that. So we see stuff like this in League of Legends. Pretty cool. It actually looks really nice too. Okay, anyway, progress. Now that we have most of the essential abilities taken care of, we're implementing some of the more complex attacks, which are coming along really well. Yeah, definitely. Looks really nice. This sprint, we added more stats to each Kinfolk, as well as abilities that can modify said stats. Now, each Kinfolk has values for physical attack, physical defense, and special defense that can increase or decrease the damage dealt by attacks. We've also upgraded our sound effects processing for attacks so that each attack can play more easily the intended sound effect at the beginning of the attack, during the flight of the attack, or when the attack lands on its target. More held items have been implemented. Expect to see around 5 or 6 in the alpha's initial release, with more progressively being added as we go. In this sprint, we've added our first quote-unquote passive items, which stay in your Kinfolk's inventory and keep working as long as they're held. We've improved the visuals that signify when a Kinfolk has taken damage. Previously, their whole model would turn red, which oftentimes made it unclear which Kinfolk was damaged and where they were looking. So now, instead, we apply an existing texture, making it much clearer. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Battle rounds now have limits. Currently, each round has a maximum time of 7 minutes, meaning the longest possible match would be 21 minutes. This will prevent players from extending matches indefinitely and eases the load on our servers a bit too. If a round runs out of time before all Kinfolk on one team are knocked out, the winner is decided based on which team has the most Kinfolk remaining, and if a tie occurs, the winner is decided based on which team has a higher percentage of their health remaining across all of the Kinfolk on their team. So that's kind of interesting. We might end up seeing some timer stall tactics being deployed. It is percentage, so that's good. Like if it was the most HP, then you'd see people like put Shovel Butt, which I'm assuming will be the tankiest Kinfolk in the game, but would put Shovel Butt as their third, and then sort of like be like, hey, you know, whoever has the most HP wins, and I have a really tanky team, and I could just run away and timer stall. But it is percentage. But so what I'm kind of interested in is I'm hoping this doesn't happen, and I think having a time limit is important because, I mean, I'd rather someone timer stall than indefinitely stall until you give up. But we might end up seeing some interesting timer stalling tactics given the time limit, and I'm trying to think, like, I could see people like just poking and then running away for the rest of the match. Oh my god, that'd be kind of annoying, but. Yeah, so there is a timer, which, I mean, I'd rather that than just poke and then just keep running away until the person rage quits. So it's to be expected. I just hope there's something that prevents like that from happening. Anyway, username and titles are now displayed in-game. Previously, when you were matched against someone, you didn't know who you were playing against. This change adds information above your opponent's health bar. You'll be able to set your title to any of the titles you received from the Kickstarter tiers or packages you purchased from our site. There are also still a few special titles you can see in game. If you see a red Sky Mill in the arena, you'll know you're playing against one of us. Good luck. Oh, that's going to be exciting. We spent a lot of time testing and bug fixing this sprint. This is a good sign for us because it lets us know that we're beginning to move out of the phase where we need to focus on adding features and into the cleanup phase before release. The areas we cleaned up most this sprint were character position syncing, attack syncing, and server responsiveness. Character position syncing in particular saw massive improvements. You can think of it like this. Each character exists simultaneously on 3 different computers. The one you're playing on, the one your opponent is playing on, and the server. One of the most challenging aspects in developing a multiplayer game is keeping all of those in sync. Our new code does a much better job of this, ensuring that characters are on the same coordinates on all 3 computers at the same moment in time. So ultimately, what you see on your computer matches what your opponent sees on theirs. We've also added some useful UI that tells you how many round trips are happening per second with the server you're connected to and the time each round trip takes. The more round trips per second, the less time for each round trip, the faster we can exchange data with the server, and the smoother your opponent moves. You'll be able to hide/enable this overlay using the settings menu. Community. We hope you enjoyed watching Rob play a heavily modded version of Fallout 4, courtesy of Andrew last week. The recording is now available on our second YouTube channel. Since we're going hard in the paint getting the alpha ready for launch, we'll be skipping our Kindred talk stream that would have been next week. Thank you for understanding. We really think it'll be worth it. We've been having an awesome time seeing your creativity in the pumpkin carving contest. Seriously, there have been some awesome ideas we never would have expected. So if you haven't already, feel free to submit your entry in our Discord. We'll be closing submissions tomorrow at about 12 p.m. EST. So that time is going to pass in a couple hours after this video is uploaded. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again on November 20th. Okay, theory. I think November 20th is either going to be, hey, here's the alpha, or this is the exact alpha release date. Because unless they plan on pushing it into December, that's going to be the last newsletter before that's it. It's before December's over. So this is interesting. Okay, they're literally just working on cleanup now, and I'm sure minor bug fixes and stuff like that. And we have there's no comments. I should leave one. We have like attacks like this being implemented, and yeah, it looks like it really is time. Now, there's a couple things I'm wondering. I don't know if controller compatibility is set up yet. If it's not, I need to see if there's a way to, and I'm sure there is, but I'm not that smart with computers, if there's a way to map my controller to certain keys on my keyboard, so that way I could just play with my controller as opposed to playing with the keyboard. I don't care if the HUD doesn't match up to my controller. I hate playing on keyboards. But anyway, that's one thing I'm a little curious about, whether or not we're going to see controller compatibility at launch, or they did say if it's not at launch, it will be a little past launch. And I'm also curious about that, like I mentioned with that timer stalling thing. Well, I'm hoping there's something that stops people from doing that, but I don't know exactly what that would be. Unless the arena had like a storm like in Fortnite where it closes in on you, but I don't think that's the case. So it'll be interesting to see how the sort of the meta also starts to flourish, because you have to remember there's no water type and there's no what's the other type? There's two types missing. There's no water type representation. And I'd have to look to see what the other type is. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a couple types that are missing. So, I mean, even though the game focuses on playstyle rather than specific hard counters with typings, you have to consider that there's two playstyles that aren't present. So there might be two playstyles that are sort of unchecked. Oh, it was air type was the other type that's not represented. So air and water. So you'd have to imagine Earth is weak to air, but there's no air. Or no, sorry. Mecha is weak to air, I believe. I could be wrong. Anyway, whoever's weak to air and whoever's weak to water, so fire, they're going to be unchecked. So we'll see how everything turns out. I'm really excited. I'm assuming we're gonna see at least two more Kinfolk, by the time the alpha moves into beta. We'll definitely see Auburn and K-Knight, but I could also see them adding at least one water type. Maybe Salamurder, but Salamurder looks kind of like a dark type, but or Bakianawa, and they'll more likely than not add either Avion or Castrix into the alpha as well. My money's on Avion just because we haven't really seen Castrix in 3D yet. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought of this newsletter. Let me know if you guys have any theories as to what the next newsletter will bring. And yeah, how are you enjoying all the Kindred Fates news so far? And let me know what your thoughts are on this alpha in general. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at GymLeaderEd. You can check out my Patreon and our Monster Taming Discord, which you should totally join, by the way. And until next time, peace.